and welcome to Stretching the Word. I'm your host, Sister Valerie, and not today, devil, just not this year. This week, we're talking about the why factor, as in why me, why this happened. Well, yesterday we discovered that one reason things happen is because we're wrapped in our flesh, and therefore, we know we have a bunch of emotions and a bunch of feelings that we deal with. So that's one reason why things happen, because we're up sometime, down sometime, all around sometime. But today, once again, we're going to the scripture. Grab your sword and come with me. Today, our first scripture is Acts, the 9th chapter, and verse 5. Okay, you got it now? It's Acts, the 9th chapter, and verse 5. And I'm going to be reading the easy English version today. Now, this is referring to Saul, and we're going to pick it up in verse 5. Because Saul was on his way to Damascus. He was rounding up the Christians and taking them to the lion's dens and all of that stuff. But here in verse 5, after the Lord had done something to him, he said, Saul asked, Lord, who are you? The voice said, I am Jesus, and you are fighting against me. And sometimes that's our problem as to why things may happen, because we find ourselves unwilling to do what we're supposed to do. We find ourselves unwilling to obey. We find ourselves unwilling to take heed to the word. We find ourselves unwilling to love. We find ourselves unwilling to help our brothers and our sisters. And when we find ourselves unwilling, then we are fighting against God. Now, the King James Version says, just a minute here. The King James Version says, and he said, who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus whom thou persecuted. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. I'm quite sure that we've all heard that somewhere down the line, but I just broke it down to us so that we will know that we're fighting against God when we are unwilling to keep his commandments, to learn his statutes, and to follow his precepts and examples. So let's not be unwilling. And then for our second scripture concerning that, let's go to Proverbs, the 13th chapter and verse 15. That's Proverbs 13 and verse 15. Okay? And we're going to read the part B of verse 15. And it says, but the way of transgressors is hard. Wow. So transgressors, what is a transgressor? A transgressor is someone who violates a law or command. So in other words, if you're in violation, we know what violation means. That means that you're doing the wrong thing. You're going against what you've been told or what has been set down as a rule or a law. You're totally just doing what you want to do and not obeying. So once again, you're unwilling to obey. So it says that those who violate the law, their way is going to be hard. And let me break that down a little more for you. Soon as I find it. Okay. I don't want that version. I want, I don't see it now. But I wanted to read to you the international version. And it says, but the way of the unfaithful leads to their destruction. Wow. So when we're being unwilling, we're being unfaithful. And it says that it will lead to our destruction.